It's the Money Mindset with Razak. Hello, Your Excellency. Yeah, and I still have Queenet with me, and we're really talking about how to invest, where to invest, and the actions you need to take. But I think this episode will really focus more on what are those types of investment available. You said people can start with 5,000, 10,000 credits. So let's start giving options to people.
Okay, so if you're looking at investing, there are a couple of options. There's what we call mutual funds. It's a very popular one. One thing I like about mutual funds is how they work is we pull a stockbroker, whatever, pulls or an asset management firm pulls different investor funds together and is able to invest them in different assets. Something like Euro bonds, for instance, you may need $100,000 or $200,000 to start investing. But for someone that has 10,000, you can actually have access to invest in a Euro bond through a mutual fund, because now your fund is not being looked at as an individual fund, but it's being pulled together with different investors. So you have that access of investing in Euro bonds, as opposed to if you were an individual investor and you wanted to have access to it. So mutual funds are a great, option for investors. There are money market funds as well. That's the one that I said you can start with as little as 5,000, and it's an open-ended fund. Even if you start with, say, for instance, 5,000, 10,000, you can make subsequent additions to the investment. So it's a good way to throw away some funds that you would likely use to maybe buy something that you ask yourself later, why did I buy what I just bought? So you can just put the funds into there, and then it guarantees you, a steady stream of income. It can pay either interest, either monthly or quarterly. So that's for the money market fund. That's for the mutual fund. There are other options such as treasury bill as well.
Yeah, a lot of time people like T-bills, treasury bill, bonds. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, so treasury bill is sort of a way that the government raises money. They do this through CBN. So you have the primary market, the secondary market. So primary market is, the auction is every 2 weeks. Secondary market is more available all the time. So it's like buying from those that have bought from secondary market. So the tenor is a bit widespread. So you can see variations of tenor in the secondary market. So essentially you are borrowing to the government and you are borrowing for a specific tenor.
What guarantee that the government will pay me my money?
The treasury bills are safe. It's one of the low risk investments. Yes, it's one of the, because we don't expect governments to sort of default.
Have they defaulted in the past?
I mean, there are instances that, some other governments, but it's not something that happens very often.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not something it's not common news, let me put it that way. So it's safe. Treasury bills are a very safe way to start. You can start with as little as 100,000 to invest in secondary market. So like I said, you don't need to have too much money to start. There's bonds as well, which is also a debt instrument. What that means is it's also something that either companies or governments use to raise funds. So a company can is trying to raise funds. So we call that a corporate bond, or a government can be, try to raise funds, call it a federal government bond, so you're borrowing money to that company or to the government, and then they promise to pay you the interest at the duration or at the expiration of the tenure of the investment. Then we also have commercial papers, which are
what differentiate commercial paper and government and corporate bonds?
So bonds are longer term investments. Bonds can span from 2 years, 3 years to 50 years, 30 years, etc. Commercial papers really just have, I think, how many tenors? Two tenors thereabouts, 182 days and 270 days. That's what you mostly see on commercial papers. So commercial papers is also a way for companies to sort of make money, to finance maybe working capital needs. So instead of going to the bank to borrow where the rates are high, some commercial, companies can go to maybe investment companies and raise a commercial paper, and people invest in that company, and then the company pays the people back interest at maturity of their investment.
So commercial papers are more of medium or high risk or low risk?
Commercial papers, I think between I think low to medium.
Okay.
Some people may see it as high, But before you invest in a commercial paper, it's good to look at the ratings of the company. Very, very important. So normally that information is displayed. So very good. Look at their financial papers. All those is public when a company raises a commercial paper. Look at the ratings. Have they defaulted in the past? Just do your research, right, on the commercial paper before you invest in it.
Yeah, I mean, people also talk about things like, for example, bonds, sukuk bond, for those who feel, for example, who want to do the halal funds, for example. So I think that's one area that people could also do. But what are those high-risk investment? Equity stocks?
Yeah.
Medium or high?
No, stocks are high risk.
Okay, why?
Yeah. They're high because
this is one thing people don't know. Once they have stock, they just believe I have a stock.
The prices change so much, right? The prices change and there are different fluctuates. Yeah, there are different things that affect. Trump comes into office and then the market shifts. Somebody says something, the market shifts. It's very volatile. That's why it's high. It's very, very volatile. It responds to a lot of, forces in the market. So that's why it's high risk. You can make a lot of money, from stocks. You can make a whole, like I said, high risk, high rewards most times. You can also lose substantial amounts of money from stocks. That's why it's high risk.
Now because all the time, what you've been told is that buy stocks. Please hear that. Stocks are high risk before you dive into it. How about real estates?
Okay, so that's not my forte, but real estates are also very good. I think it's a very high rising.
Low risk, high risk. Where will you classify? Because oftentimes a lot of people believe real estate could also be low risk, but I also do tell people, for example, if you don't have the right papers, right, it can be more of a medium, but it's clear. One of the things which is important is every investment comes with its own risk.
Level of risk.
Yeah, but as a wealth advisor, what do you also advise people about commodities? Gold.
Yeah, I have, people that do those kinds of investments. It's also a good option.
Yeah,
it's also
for long term.
Long or short term.
How you want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because for example, if you are buying gold and keeping, to sell in the future, that's more of a kind of long term. But if you're also doing more of, because recently we now have gold commodities on some of the stock exchange, platform. But now let's go. Where can people buy this? I think AfriInvest have a mobile app.
Yeah, okay. So for the investment options that I talked about, you can have access to some of our mutual funds. You can invest with them through the Optimus by AfriInvest app. We also have the AfriInvestor 2.0. If you're able to, you can download that. You invest in Nigerian stocks, treasury bill, commercial papers. All of them are hoisted there, so you can invest in them. Also, US stocks as well. You find that on the on the Optimus by AfriInvest.
And that's amazing. I'm going to drop QNet's official email. I'll put it on the screen for you to see there. But I'm also going to drop it in the comment area, so that for those who might want to pick it up, you can get our official email and probably just really reach out to her. She's a wealth advisor, and I'm pretty sure she would give you best advice if you reach out to her. But you know what? It's the money mindset with Rasak. And honestly, this is why I want you to continue watching, subscribe, drop your comment, like, and drop your questions. I'm sure you have plenty of options now, and hopefully these have kind of demystified your mindset about investment. You don't need to be old before you start investing. Start the investment now. Compound your money. Stop saving in that bank account that does not give you anything or any tangible interest. You need to learn the art of investing. It is very important and essential for your personal finance. I hope you will join me on the next episode, and I hope this has really made sense to you. If yes, again, subscribe, like, comment, and I have one more request, just one more. And that request is that I want you to drop your question. I'll be running an episode pretty soon on Ask Rasak Your Personal Finance Questions. I'm going to take all those questions and respond to them. If you think you want to drop your question anonymously, send it to the email on the screen. That email is moneymindsetwithrasak The Razak is RASAK at gmail.com. Moneymindsetwithrasak at gmail.com. And I will pick all the questions and respond to you pretty soon. I hope you enjoyed it. Hello, Your Excellency.